Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. First of all, I want to apologise for yesterday's video. I really don't know what happened with the audio, and thank you to the two guys who told me the audio dropped out 7 minutes or so in and didn't come back until 11 minutes or so. I really don't know what's happened to that video between the edit suite and uploading to YouTube. Something's corrupted it. Don't know, can't make it work. So here we are, let's have a go, round two. So as I was saying in that video, these planes here came from a large box of 18 or 20 planes, a mixed lot from the David Stanley auctions. They were cheap, £30 or so. And I bought the entire box full for these two older planes. Now, this one here is a fairly early bead. It has all the hallmarks of a Birmingham maker, rounded shoulders, rounded, very rounded wedge steel. The timber isn't perfect in it. It's a lovely bead. It's a nice plane. So that's one of the reasons I bought this box full. Unfortunately, the maker's marks are hidden under this date stamp, under this owner's mark here. I've tried to read it. I think it's W something, but it's not a Moths. It's not a WM Moths or a, because the mark is square all the way around. It could be a WM Moss, is possible, but that was a later stamp and this looks like one of his earlier planes. But anyway, we shall find out at some point. And this one, I really can't get on to read. I've tried, I can see the letters, there's an N in there and there's an I in there, and I think there's a K in there, but anyway, I'll work that out at some point. This is also an early plane, but this one I brought because it's an Avolo. It's quite a small Avolo, and he's bang on the period of a lot of the work that I do, the repair work I do. He's bang on the period this plane was made, mid to late 1700s or so, which is what I would put that plane to. It's got a little bit of worm damage, but hey ho, I've still got a box full of planes I can sell out of that box. So these three also have intrigued me since. Now this again is a bead, and obviously it's been much modified. It's had a depth stop added and it's had an adjustable fence added, but look at the state of the actual groove for the bead. And I'm not sure whether this has been modified out of a rebate plane or what's going on with it. I really am not sure. To be honest, I do wonder if it's not been modified out of a rebate plane, because it doesn't exactly look like a bead, does it? Sort of does, but it sort of doesn't. So yeah, I think maybe this is a modified plane for a specific purpose. It's quite a bit shorter than, I don't know, these are older planes, so they will be longer anyway. But it is fairly short as well. Again, no maker's mark obvious. So I don't know if it's a user, obviously it's a user modified plane, but I don't know if it's a user made plane. Very interesting. I'm going to shout it up and have a fiddle with it and see how well it actually works. And one of those little curio planes that I've got that's eventually going to be a talking point. And the other two are these. They're very obviously rounds. One's marked 10, one's marked 11. This is the 11, which is still in its original profile. And this one is a 10, but has been much modified to make it into the profile it is now. But the other thing you'll notice is somebody has literally sawn the noses off them, and quite crudely as well. Yeah, quite a lot of saw mark in there. So I don't know what their purpose was. They were obviously running around bottom mouldings right or fairly tight to something. I don't know whether they're pattern makers planes, whether they've modified them, or whether they were, you know, a joiner's plane, carpenter's plane, something like that. Somebody doing some interesting work with the short nose of the plane. I really don't know. I wouldn't like to say. It just does intrigue me sometimes with these things. Lovely stops on the chamfers, lovely return here, rounded shoulders. So they are fairly light, they're not early planes at all. But they do intrigue me as to who made the planes originally, who sawed them down, and for what reason. It does all, make me wonder. I guess it's one of those answers we'll never quite know, but we like with all these things with these planes, sometimes you'll never quite know the full history of them, but I am intrigued by the history of them. And these early planes are now what's sort of catching my eye a bit. Mainly because they are slightly rarer. I mean, I'm not short of planes, and actually I'm going to bring some hollows and rounds and some beads back to the market eventually in sort of group sets. I've got, with the exception of a set of number ones, I've got a set of planes missing just the odd one from 2 right up to 20. And I probably can produce 2 sets. Well, at some point I'm going to thin down what I've got and put back to the market a few of those planes, because I don't need 3 and 4 number 15s, for example. I do need a couple, one for me to use and one for students to use, or 2 sets for students to use, for example. So there are things that I need to keep multiples of, and it's the same with the beads. I do need 2 sets of beading planes, but what I don't need is 6 or 7 sets. And these are the hollows and rounds, and the beading planes are what come up most often. It's what almost every joiner would have carried, and probably beading planes, especially the bigger ones, would have been used by a lot of carpenters as well. So there's plenty of those planes out there still, and still in the market. I will push some back. I'm beginning to buy more and more things like the more obscure window planes, the earlier planes and things like that. And the more hard to find and detailed moulders, that's the sort of thing that I'm looking for and looking to put my hands on now. I'm not, I don't really need to buy, I don't even look at lots of just solely hollows and rounds and beads anymore. There's no need, unless there was a number one came up, a pair of number ones came up in a set. I wouldn't actually buy a box of hollows and rounds and beads now. So, where do we go from here then with planes and things like that? Well, this is what I want to know from you guys. I want to know what you want to see. Do you want to see beads like this? Do you want to see more of the window planes? Do you want to see hollow and rounds? Do you want to see, some of the more obscure planes, some of the more funkily modified planes? I haven't got huge amounts of these, but, I've got a few that are out there that have been messed with over the years. I don't know. You tell me. What do you guys want to see now? I have a vast collection of planes, particularly moulding planes. I am going to do a bit on window moulders fairly soon, and I will, when I get 5 minutes, get the video out on the OGs with quirks, etc. That's been requested. I will get to that video as soon as I can. I know I keep saying I'm going to make it, but things are hectic here with things. And on that subject, I have a planning meeting on Monday for the next stage of the Centre in the Past project. So there's big things coming there. So watch this space, guys, because any of you that would like to get involved, there will be an opportunity for you guys to get involved. on the next stage, which is the framing stage. And yeah, that's really all there is to say for today on planes. I have noticed the comments are going down a bit. You know, if you could sort of, it all seems to help the algorithm if you could like and subscribe and leave a little comment. It does seem to help push the videos on and push the channel on. And obviously, the more I can get the closer I can get to having the channel fully monetized, the more content I can afford to take the time to make, and the better content I can afford to take the time to make, because I can afford to spend money on things like better microphones and better cameras. Yeah, so let us know, guys. Let me know what you want to see. It's a busy summer ahead. There's a lot of restoration work coming. I'll try and record some of that as and when I can. A lot of window restoration coming up, vast amounts of window restoration into the autumn. And over the winter, I shall be taking the odd window out and bringing them back here. I've got new windows to make. I've got a massive bay to go at in the autumn, well, late summer, as soon as I can get the other restoration job finished. So yeah, please do let me know what you want to see now going forwards. I'll keep making content, but I want to know that you guys want to watch it. At the moment, the viewing figures are tumbling. I was up to 1,000 watch hours in 28 days. Just 3 weeks ago, that's fallen right back to 440 something. So I want to make content that you guys want to watch. So let me know what you guys want to watch, and I'll try and make it. There'll be a lot going forwards on using moulding planes and that sort of thing. I've got a couple of projects in the pipeline with a couple of friends to get some stuff in the can regarding window components and making window components and that sort of thing. Somebody's asked for a hand mortising video. I will do that, but I've got to have a cameraman for that because I can't show you in detail whilst working at any kind of speed. I can't show you in detail how I would do that. So that is something I do need a cameraman for. So for now, guys, that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next video. Cheers, bye.